Marketing is essential for any business, but it is an expense and it can make or break a business. So, how do savvy entrepreneurs maximize their marketing budget so that their marketing dollars are spent efficiently and effectively? Turn up your volume and keep watching. This is You and Your Money.
Tonight's You and Your Money is brought to you by Access Accelerator.
Welcome to You and Your Money. I'm Carlos Mackey, the guest host for today's show. Today's guest co-host is Paige Hanna. Paige is the Assistant Director of Marketing at Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, also known as A Squared, which offers entrepreneurs business advisory services, training, and access to capital. Paige Hanna, it's so good to have you here on You and Your Money as we get ready for a great discussion that I know you have lined up for us with regard to marketing strategies. So Paige, feel free to go ahead.
Yes, so we're excited to be here today. We have a few of our Access Accelerator clients to talk a little bit about marketing from a small business perspective, what works and how they maximize their budgets. And so we'll just dive right in to marketing. So in marketing, there's an 80-20 rule that suggests that 80% of your gross revenue comes from just 20% of your customers. And these would be considered your core customers, your core base. So what do you do to ensure that the marketing activities in your marketing budget attract those core customers? If each of you can touch on that.
I think that's completely true, right? And a big part of that is having kind of thinking through the fact that they represent 80% of your revenue base. I think you have to know that you can allocate slightly more budget or resources to those particular clients. And it makes sense to invest in that. Whereas for the other, it's how do you integrate automation into the processes by which you still can give that particular type of service, but you're not extending so much in terms of your resources, right? And then technology is great in a way that they can feel like they're getting the personalized service, but you're actually spending a lot less for that interaction.
All right, thank you. Eric?
Well, for me, before I even got my business started, one of the things that I tried to do was identify who are my key clients. And so for me, on the island, that would be corporate clients, local government, real estate, the business community. And so the great thing about advertising, especially on Facebook, is that you can actually zero in on the specific demographics of the clients that you want to target.
Daphne?
Hi, yes. I think Janay and Eric were both spot on. You have to find out who your target audience is, but just so you maximize your budget, with your business, you have to establish what it is that you're offering, what problem you are solving for the community. You carve out your niche and you just focus on that.
So talk to us about branding and walk us through that process of developing and fine-tuning a brand. We know that brand messaging is really important and having a brand personality. How do you assist businesses with making their brand stand out, differentiating them from their competitors? And, everyone's using the same marketing channels and so forth. So how do you actually help businesses to be different or to be seen as different by their target customer base?
Well, for me, I think it's important to establish what your brand characteristic is, what your brand personality is, and how you want to be perceived out into the public. Some companies, they want to be professional and serious. Some companies want to have a quirky edge where they want to be seen as funny. It really just depends. And then from there, you develop and you cater your personality around that, or your branding around that. You choose the right colors. You want to be recognizable, even if your logo isn't out there. Immediately when you see a specific ad, for example, I'm going to use discount distributors as an example. Once I see that blue and white flyer, I know that that is their ad. Once I see food on it, produce, whatever it may be, I know that's their ad before I even see the actual logo or the actual company's name. And I know sometimes they're going to have some fun games. So I know their brand personality or their characteristic is geared towards making it fun and making it relatable to what's happening with today's environment or economic environment. So for me, it starts off with just deciding how you want to be perceived out there and building up upon that.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, and that's exactly what the process ends up being, right? It's such an involved process. And sometimes, it's hard to get an appreciation for all of the work that needs to go into what is developing the brand, right? And so there's this market research components where you really need to understand who you're up against, but not just who you're up against from a direct perspective, but indirectly, what are the alternatives that are being our potential customers are facing as well, because they're going to take a piece of the pie as well. And sometimes we forget that we have to look both at direct competitors and indirect competitors. From there, you've got to position yourself in a way that you see the white space, right? And what I call the white space is where people aren't trying to play and where you can kind of cut out your competitive advantage. And that's something that we have to be really deliberate about in understanding where we're going to take our brands. But that market research at the beginning has to happen. Who are we competing against? Who are we talking to, right? And then how do we build out the brand from there?
In business and marketing, we think a lot about the question of customer acquisition. But one of the things that is much less costly, studies show us, than customer acquisition is actually customer maintenance and management. So talk to us about how businesses should use their marketing strategies to help retain customers.
Community is just becoming so relevant in our times, right? Everybody wants to belong in something, and it's such a great opportunity for brands now to start to build their own communities. And remember, we just finished talking about the branding process and actually finding the personality of the brand. So if that brand personality connects with the personality of your clients, then community becomes super easy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Community is so important. And I realize that people are also creatures of habit. So you go to the grocery store that you go to the hairdresser or the barber that you go to, that's just where you go. And so if you can continue to maintain that level of professionalism and that level of customer service and make people, like Janay said, make people feel like they are a part of your company, your brand, what it is that you're doing, then they're going to be loyal for life. And they're also going to recommend other people because they know the level of inclusivity and the level of experience that they're having with you and with your brand.
We've definitely got more to discuss, and we're so glad to have this panel here, but we've got to take a break. You're watching You and Your Money, and we'll be back right after this short break.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
I was actually born into farming. My grandfather, who was 80 years old, he's a first-generation farmer. 3 generations later, I decided to go into farming. So we do have 2 operating farms at this time, the one in Nassau and the one in Andros. This season, the Access Accelerator assisted us in funding our strawberry project here on Andros. With us being able to access the Fish and Farmers Grant, it has actually given us the capital that we needed to start this farming season for our strawberry crop. We do believe that people eating organic food is very important, and we want to offer safe food and organic food. Some persons are still shocked that we've been existing for 8 years. Outside of having to come to our website to make purchases, if we can get more of our products to our clients, we'll be happy to do that, and local distribution would help us with that. I can tell you the industry is not attractive for young people. However, if you are passionate about something, you will definitely be able to excel in that area, and at this point for me, it's fun to be a farmer in the Bahamas.
Welcome back to You and Your Money. If you're now just tuning in, Paige Hanna, Assistant Director of Marketing at Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, is here as today's guest co-host. The Access Accelerator provides business advisory services, training, and access to capital.
Joining me today is a panel of entrepreneurs from our Access Accelerator client pool. We have Daphne Smith of Pink Flamingo Marketing, Eric Wallace of Glass Window Studio, and Janay Symonette of Sign Island, who are here to share strategies they use to maximize their marketing budgets. So Daphne, your company specializes in digital marketing. So this question's for you. What are some of the ways entrepreneurs can leverage the data analytics that's available through digital marketing so that they can use their marketing budgets more efficiently?
It's very important to pay attention to your analytics. It lets me know my demographics, who are viewing the content that I'm putting out. And that's very important because that lets me know what works for what works for this person and what doesn't work for this person. And so it breaks down the age, the gender, even the location, and all of that information I need to take in so that I can know what to put out. It also helps, even though persons may not be engaging with the content, it still lets me know what to put out there. There have been times where someone may not like, share, or whatever, but then they call and they say, hey, I saw this. Okay, great. So I know it's reaching persons. It even lets me know how many persons it was able to reach. So that's very important to me. And that's what I use to maximize my budget as well.
This question is for everyone, including you, Paige. You can chime in after the others have made their contributions. So other than social media marketing, what are some of the other digital or online marketing channels that you're finding really offer small businesses and even medium and big size businesses are great value?
For me, I look at searchability. Can people really find you online? And so it goes to a lot of people may not know, but there's search engine optimization. If someone searches for your business or for a business in your field on Google, can they find you? You know, are you at the top of the list when they do search for your business? So that's just one of the things that I look at. I have my business registered on like Bahamas Local. It's on Google, so it's very easy to find. And then outside of that, you also have Google Ads. And so you can get into Google AdSense and that sort of thing. And these are just different ways that outside of the regular social media, you know, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, people are able to find your business if you're targeting them and advertising by those means.
Thanks, Eric. Daphne?
Content marketing is very big right now. Just letting persons know that I am the expert in this field, making use of ebooks, webinars, video content, even email marketing. I love to use Did You Know segments as well. And then also how accessible you are is a big thing as well. Persons just want to WhatsApp you or send you a quick message to ask you a question about your business. And I know sometimes, you know, people can go outside of the realm of your business hours, but they do love quick, speedy responses and accessibility. So that's another thing as well.
So we kind of do a combination of everything that our clients mentioned. So one of those things is taking up that digital space, right? So, you know, outside of social media, You can make sure that you are tapping into e-news. So, we have some newspapers that are online, so that anything that you're pushing out, it's also ending up in the news field on the digital space. Also, direct marketing. This can be via emails, via e-blasts, and even WhatsApp messaging. Even though WhatsApp is considered a bit of a social media tool, but we, for instance, have a group for our funded clients, and we also recognize the value in connection. So like, if you've ever heard us talk about these family island tours that we go on, we find key stakeholders on the islands, or people who we would consider like influencers, who we'd create and build these relationships with. So if we send them something on WhatsApp, they'll in turn send it to their groups as well. So you have to switch it up. Not everything is a cookie cutter response, whether that's a shortened caption or links and GIFs and stuff like that. When you use email marketing, for instance, you're able to hyperlink a lot more things. And so it's just really taking up that digital space. And another way that we do that too is through our blog. We do have a bit of a timeless blog. With the blog, we have contributors. So we're not doing necessarily everything from Access Accelerator, but we're leaning on experts in the field who can also give insight.
Well, small plug. If you go to the Access Accelerator blog, my last post was actually about this. About the free tools that you can use across, marketing your small business. So I would encourage you to take a look at the last one. But, the article really covers the same thing: email marketing, SEO, or search engine optimization, analytics platforms, and then, of course, design platforms as well.
So that leads me to a question, if you don't mind, I could jump in here, is that, some marketing activities do require a large amount of investment of time in order to yield a return. So it's very labor intensive sometimes. So if the panelists can answer this, how do you ensure your marketing budget isn't over budget when you're factoring in the value of time? Janay?
It's such a hard question to ask because, a lot of us, we're just super passionate about what we're doing. So we want to see the end and we're going to make sure it gets done. Now, when it comes to allocating resources, I think that's when you start to look at when can you input automation within a specific process? And I go back to that because that is basically where you lower your cost, let's say per acquisition or however you want to phrase it. But to lower that cost, you have to always look at how can I optimize this process? It's like a mindset almost. And you always have to keep thinking, how can I optimize it? How can I add automation into this? Because that's where you're really going to make sure that you don't go over budget.
I agree. It is a tricky question, but I also think it all boils down to what your potential return of investment may be as well. We do, as entrepreneurs, of course, we do dedicate a lot of time to our businesses. We want to see it thrive. And I think one of the good things about digital marketing is you can kind of gauge and see a return of investment versus, for example, traditional marketing. If you put an ad in the paper, you may not be able to see, obviously, how many persons actually read it, or actually, unless you implement something that'll actually ask someone the question, hey, how did you hear about me? Did you hear about me on social media? Did you see an ad in the paper? So it's difficult trying to find the value for your time unless you can estimate a return of investment.
Well, for me personally, about 90% of the business that I've gotten since I started 6 months ago has been based on referrals. So, just clients loving what I do and either calling me back for more work or referring other clients to me. And that really cuts down on the amount of time and money that I have to spend in advertising. But also, if you're advertising digitally, you can look at how can you change the way you're advertising. So instead of paying, for example, there's something called pay-per-click on social media. So instead of paying every time somebody views your ad, you can pay every time they click on the ad. So it's not wasting time. The click actually shows that they're interested, that they're engaged, that they want to be a part of, they want to possibly take it to the next level. And so just changing how you're paying for those digital ads also, I believe, makes a difference. Sitting in
the Access Accelerator seat, I just wanted to add that I think it's important that small businesses or small business owners as well, they recognize the value of marketing, because there's sometimes I think that as entrepreneurs, we try to do it all. Sometimes the most efficient way for you to use your budget is to outsource it. So you may not be good at marketing. Make sure you include that marketing or however much funds you need in order to have an efficient marketing, because what's the sense of, putting money behind ads if you don't know what you're doing versus hiring someone, or from the moment you come to the Access Accelerator for funding, you include it in your budget already. Because speaking to our pre-funding department, they have said, there have been times that people come with business plans and they have no line item for marketing. And so that's just my encouragement to small business owners as well, is to be intentional about your marketing. And even if you can't do it, you need to be able to account for it in your expenses.
Janay Symonette is from Sion Island, and we also had Daphne Smith from Pink Flamingo Marketing, and we had Eric Wallace from Glass Window Studios in Eleuthera. Thank you all so much for being a part of this You and Your Money panel. Paige?
We thank our Access Accelerator clients for showing up and representing so well as usual. So thank you to Daphne, Janay, and Eric.
Let's take another break. Paige, when we get back, I want to talk about funding opportunities available through Access Accelerator. You're watching You and Your Money. We'll be right back.
I was actually born into farming. My grandfather, who was 80 years old, he's a first-generation farmer. 3 generations later, I decided to go into farming. So we do have 2 operating farms at this time, the one in Nassau and the one in Andros. This season, Access Accelerator assisted us in funding our strawberry project here on Andros. With us being able to access the Fish and Farmers Grant, it has actually given us the capital that we needed to start this farming season for our strawberry crop. We do believe that people eating organic food is very important, and we want to offer safe food and organic food. Some persons are still shocked that we've been existing for 8 years. Outside of having to come to our website to make purchases, if we can get more of our products to our clients, we'll be happy to do that, and local distribution would help us with that. I can tell you the industry is not attractive for young people. However, if you are passionate about something, you will definitely be able to excel in that area. And at this point for me, it's fun to be a farmer in the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
Welcome back to You and Your Money. We have just a few short minutes left in the show. Paige Hanna, Assistant Director of Marketing at Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, also known as A Squared, is still with us. Paige, for a lot of entrepreneurs who want to increase their marketing budget through external financing, what are the financing opportunities that are available through the Access Accelerator for them to be able to do things like their marketing, but also other things that are important to their businesses?
signing up with Access Accelerator gives you the access to a variety of service offerings, one of them being access to capital. So when you go to our website at www.accessaccelerator.org, when you click the Join Us tab, that would put you into our database. And the first thing that will happen is you'll get a client services form. From this client services form, we're able to figure out what it is that you need. Yes, you need funding, but at what point are you? Do you already have a business plan? Do you need a business plan written for you? Do you need accountants in your pocket to help you do your financials? And so from this client services form, we're able to provide the best amount of help to you and streamline your particular process. Now, when we're talking about access to capital, currently we have the initiative, the Royal Caribbean program. So that one is for entrepreneurs on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Barry Islands, for those in tourism-centric businesses. And so that's a grant loan 50-50 offering that we have for different tiers of businesses, depending on what the ask is for. But then also we have our flagship program. So you'll hear us talk about this flagship program a lot, which is the Access Accelerator program. Through this program, we have the guaranteed loan. You're able to access, venture capital funding, equity, a matching grant to some degree. But those questions come up once we understand that information from our client services form, and we're able to put you on the right track. And so, again, that information is accessaccelerator.org. Click Join Us. Again, that will enter you into our database. And even if you're not ready for funding right then and there, you also get all of our updates via email as well.
Now, before we wrap, we noticed that the Access Accelerator in the news and on social media has been extremely busy over the past month. So tell us about what else you have going on and what's on the agenda for the upcoming month or two.
So we've really been using all these opportunities to speak to different communities, different constituents, and also even island tours. We do a family island tour every month where we go and we talk to clients that are there. We touch base with our reps that are there. Up next month, we're going to be heading to Abaco to visit there. We've not been there, I think, since the pandemic. So we'll check in with the folks down there. We also have a digital skills training session that's coming up that's going to be put on by the Access Accelerator, where you could get certified in different skills that'll help increase your digital competency. Again, these things will help when it comes to, for instance, the first module is communication. So we'll eventually have a social media perspective as well. And so just being able to stay in tune with us, keep in touch with us so that we can offer these different skills and trainings and workshops for you. And then obviously we have a lot of partnerships. We have a very vast ecosystem. And so we're always willing and available to pass along that information, get persons involved with things that not only we're doing, but that our partners are doing as well. And so just always encourage persons to, one, like I said, make sure that you sign up with us when you join us at accessaccelerator.org, but also follow all of our social media at Access Accelerator and, for instance, on Twitter, SBDC242.
This has been Ms. Paige Hanna, who is the Assistant Director of Marketing at Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, also called A Squared. Ms. Paige Hanna, thank you so much for being with us here on You and Your Money today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This has been another episode of You and Your Money. We thank you so much for being a part of our audience. Feel free to follow us and get updates on You and Your Money. Follow us on social media. You can also go to tclevents.com to find out what else is happening with the TCL group. Thank you so much for being a part of our audience, and we definitely want you to tune in next week for what we expect is going to be another great and informative show. Take care.
Tonight's You and Your Money was brought to you by Access Accelerator.